Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the pressure to be your best self? You're not alone. A shocking 93% of people admit to feeling stressed about personal improvement. That's nearly everyone. Despite this, studies show that only 8% of people actually achieve their New Year's resolutions. That's a staggering failure rate, isn't it? So, what's going wrong? It turns out that the chase for perfection often leads us to frustration, burnout, and even unhappiness. Instead of finding joy in our journey, we become trapped in a never-ending cycle of self-criticism and comparison. Did you know that constantly striving to be better can actually decrease your overall well-being? In fact, research from UC Riverside shows that people who focus too much on self-improvement are more likely to experience anxiety and depression. In this video, we'll explore why the idea of being your best self might be doing more harm than good. We'll dive into the traps of perfectionism, the myth of productivity, and the importance of authenticity. You'll discover practical strategies to break free from these pressures and learn how to redefine success in a way that truly fulfills you. Are you ready to stop chasing an impossible ideal and start embracing who you really are? Let's jump in. Chapter 1. The Trap of Perfectionism. Breaking free from the myth we live in a world obsessed with perfection. From social media to the workplace, we're constantly told to strive for more, to be flawless. But here's the truth: perfection is a trap. Brené Brown, a leading researcher on vulnerability, says, perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. Perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. It's a defensive shield, not a tool for self-growth. Perfectionism often leads to procrastination or, worse, paralysis. In a study by the University of British Columbia, researchers found that perfectionists are more likely to experience burnout, anxiety, and depression. Why? Because the goalposts for success keep moving. You're never good enough in your own eyes. Instead of setting impossible standards, try setting manageable ones. Focus on progress, not perfection. Small, consistent actions over time lead to significant changes. A helpful strategy is to adopt the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. This principle suggests that 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. Focus on the most impactful areas of your life and let go of the need to be perfect in every aspect. For example, instead of trying to excel in every hobby or task, pick a few key areas where you want to grow and give yourself permission to be good enough in the rest. Another useful technique is self-compassion, a concept highlighted by psychologist Kristin Neff. She emphasizes being kind to yourself when you make mistakes, rather than beating yourself up. By showing yourself compassion, you're more likely to recover from setbacks and keep moving forward. Chapter 2. The Productivity Illusion. Why more isn't always better in today's hustle culture. Productivity has become synonymous with self-worth. We're bombarded with messages like, grind 24/7, and, rise and grind. But here's the thing: constantly pushing for more can actually be counterproductive. Research from Stanford University found that productivity drops sharply after 50 hours of work per week. Pushing yourself beyond that can lead to diminishing returns, both for your work and your well-being. One strategy to combat this is embracing deliberate rest. Author Alex Peng, in his book Rest: Why You Get More Done When You Work Less, emphasizes that high performers in various fields, from athletes to artists, know when to step back. They build rest into their routines, understanding that downtime is as important as work. Studies also show that taking breaks boosts creativity, memory, and problem-solving abilities. Another approach is deep work, a concept coined by Cal Newport. Deep work refers to the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. Instead of multitasking, which can reduce productivity by as much as 40%, according to research from Stanford, try focusing deeply on one thing at a time. Schedule blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work and give yourself permission to disconnect from emails, notifications, and social media. Finally, adopt a less but better mindset. The late Steve Jobs famously said, "Focus is about saying no." He believed that focusing on fewer things allows you to excel in what truly matters. Instead of stretching yourself thin trying to do everything, identify your top priorities and pour your energy into them. You'll not only feel less overwhelmed but will actually accomplish more of what's important. Chapter 3. Authenticity over achievement. The power of being real in a world that values achievement above all else. It's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth by your accomplishments. But here's the kicker. Real happiness and fulfillment come not from achieving more, but from being authentic. In his book The Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown writes, "Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are." One strategy to foster authenticity is to shift your focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. Ask yourself, am I pursuing this goal because it genuinely excites me or because I think it will impress others? A Harvard Business Review study found that people who prioritize intrinsic goals, like personal growth and connection, report higher levels of happiness than those who chase extrinsic goals like wealth or fame. Another technique is mindful reflection. Set aside time each day or week to reflect on your actions and decisions. Are they aligned with your values? Journaling can be an effective way to track your thoughts and feelings, helping you stay grounded in who you truly are. Research from the University of Texas shows that journaling can reduce stress, increase self-awareness, and improve your emotional well-being. Finally, embrace vulnerability. It's often seen as a weakness, but being open about your struggles can actually strengthen your connections with others. According to Brown's research, vulnerability is the birthplace of courage, empathy, and connection. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you're giving others permission to do the same, leading to deeper and more meaningful relationships. If you're enjoying this content, please consider subscribing to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on our journey towards authentic living and personal growth. Chapter 4. The Ego Trap. How self-improvement feeds the wrong beast. Self-improvement is supposed to make you better, right? But what if it's feeding the wrong part of you, the ego? The ego loves to keep score, chasing validation and external rewards. In Ego is the Enemy, Ryan Holiday says, the ego we have is often a necessary shield. But it also blinds us. It's a sneaky trap that can lead to arrogance or feeling never quite good enough. One way to escape the ego trap is through humility. Humility isn't about thinking less of yourself but thinking of yourself less. In a 2012 study by Harvard Business School, researchers found that humble leaders are more effective because they are open to feedback and recognize the value of others. Start by practicing active listening and being genuinely curious about other people's perspectives. This helps you shift the focus away from yourself and onto learning from others. Another helpful strategy is detaching from outcomes. While goals can be motivating, they can also become toxic if you tie your self-worth to them. Instead, focus on the process, not just the result. In The Practicing Mind, Thomas Sterner suggests that true inner peace comes from being fully involved in the process of living without worrying about the outcome. Enjoy the journey. Appreciate the small wins along the way instead of constantly chasing the next big thing. A third strategy is practicing gratitude. Research from UC Berkeley shows that gratitude lowers stress and increases a sense of well-being. By regularly acknowledging the good in your life, you stop seeking external validation to feel successful. Every day, write down 3 things you're thankful for. Over time, this simple habit helps tame the ego's hunger for more and shifts your mindset toward abundance. Chapter 5. The Present Moment Paradox. Why better blocks happiness? We've all heard it before. Live in the moment. But it's easier said than done when you're always striving to be better. The paradox is, the more you chase an ideal version of yourself, the more distant happiness feels. Studies from Harvard University reveal that people spend almost 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're doing. And here's the kicker. Mind wandering makes them less happy. A key strategy to overcome this is mindfulness, the practice of being fully present. Jon Kabat-Zinn, a pioneer in mindfulness, describes it as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. Start small. Set aside 5 minutes a day to practice mindful breathing or simply observe your surroundings. These moments help you rewire your brain to stay present. Another approach is to adopt the be, not do mindset. In our busy lives, we're conditioned to think that doing more equals being more. But there's power in stillness. According to Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Instead of rushing to the next task, give yourself permission to simply be. Take a walk, sit with your thoughts, or just pause and breathe. Finally, practice non-attachment. Buddhist teachings often highlight this idea, not being overly attached to the future or to the outcome of your efforts. This doesn't mean you don't care, it means you stop letting future possibilities dictate your present happiness. Try focusing on intentions over goals. Set intentions rooted in your values, but let go of rigid expectations. This shift frees you from the constant pull of, what's next, and helps you find contentment in the now. Chapter 6. Redefining Success. A new way to measure your growth in a world where success is often measured by status, money, or accomplishments. It's easy to feel like you're falling behind. But what if we're measuring success all wrong? Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "The good life is a process, not a state of being. It is a direction, not a destination." Real growth isn't about arriving at a certain point, it's about continuously evolving. A key strategy here is to redefine success on your own terms. Instead of following society's checklist, create your own markers of achievement. Ask yourself, what does success look like for me? Maybe it's about feeling more peaceful, building stronger relationships, or developing new skills. Research from Yale University found that people who define success internally are more likely to report higher levels of well-being and life satisfaction than those who rely on external markers. Another strategy is to focus on personal fulfillment. In his book Drive, Daniel Pink explains that true motivation comes from three things: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. When you pursue what makes you feel fulfilled, rather than what impresses others, you're more likely to stick with it and feel happier doing it. Consider asking yourself, am I doing this because it genuinely excites me, or am I doing it to meet someone else's definition of success? A third approach is to celebrate small wins. We often think success means reaching big milestones, but the truth is that lasting growth happens through small, consistent steps. A study by Harvard Business School found that recognizing small accomplishments significantly boosts motivation and productivity. So, break your bigger goals into smaller, bite-sized tasks and celebrate each one. This not only keeps you motivated but also shifts your focus from the future to what you're achieving right now. If you found value in this content, please subscribe to our channel for more insights and practical tips on redefining success and living authentically. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos.